going crazy. My neighbors are going crazy. Hey, people. Welcome. Thank you for tapping in. This is Consafos with Sacred Hurt. I'm Sacred Hurt. And if you haven't already, please be sure to tap the like, subscribe, share, leave your comments down below. If you know, you know. I'm in the process of moving. I got a lot of stuff done yesterday. And today I've just been chilling around the house. I'm getting the little odds and ends that are, lingering things here and there around. Hey, I'm not people. Hello, Alfredo. Hey, Jerry. And I thought I would take a break and watch some funny videos and jump on live and see, who's around and what you guys think of them. This is a series called Tales from the Trip. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's on Comedy Central. It's an animated series, and it's where people talk about their different, like, DMT trips, acid trips, mushroom trips, stuff like that. I see you, Alfredo. I appreciate you. So, yeah, I hope you got something to drink, some snacks, a snack. And then it was good. I found a little buddy. When I sat down, I was like, oh my God, I have a whole little friend. But here's the first one. It's called I Did DMT on Acid, which is crazy. And, I can't remember this dude's name, but he does a lot of shows, or his content on YouTube has a lot to do. You guys are like best friends. The dynamic duo, Otra. And he does like reviews of the substances for educational purposes only, of course. But yeah, he's funny. I don't know if you can hear, but my neighbors are drumming.
And as soon as you try to control something as intense as DMT, it is going to heat you up and spit you out. But I was younger, I was stupid, I thought
I could be a best friend too.
Hello, everybody.
What are you guys up to?
Adam. I am from Psych Substance, and this is the
Adam from Psych Substance. He's hilarious.
I was going through a period where I was absolutely terrified of DMT. And usually,
I don't know if I could trust you, Alfredo. You'll get all crazy. You're too toxic, I think.
And stop doing it. But I had a different approach. You see, I was painfully
a little toxic. Hey, Rebotes, how are you? I'm good, taking a break.
And I wanted more than anything
this is one of my favorite shows.
This fear because I wanted to continue having these mind-expanding, life-changing experiences, and this fear was in the way of me advancing my personal growth. Now, I had come up with a strategy.
Hey, here for the laughs.
Gathering, and it was a beautiful location.
How's everybody?
A bunch of us over for an acid trip. I'm there. We all taken the acid. I started to work up the courage to smoke the DMT. The fear is so intense because it feels like
I do what I want.
Facing your own death.
Hey, same
and I had this idea that the best way to face the fear was to quite literally face my reflection, because I was afraid of myself, in the mirror while I did it. What if in order to face it, I have to remain conscious during this experience? Now, all signs pointed to this being an absolutely dreadfully terrible fucking idea. Because if you try to force yourself to stay awake, that's in essence trying to control the experience. And as soon as you try to control something as intense as DMT, it is going to...
So have you guys, I'm not going to ask this, but I've known people, let's just say, that have tried hallucinogenics, and it seems that the people that have the worst trips are always the ones that have the hardest time just letting go and just like taking that ride, you know what I mean, and seeing where your mind expands and what it has to show you. And when you're fighting with it or when you're at odds, it seems to like take this really dark turn. But let's see what happens. He's taking DMT on acid, so it's a lie. Hey Rita.
Up and spit you out. But I was younger, I was stupid, I thought I'm going to face this and see what happens. So I went in front of the mirror, I was like, all right, man.
Is right.
Here we go, it's now or never, let's just do this. Lit it up. This is another big hit. Immediately started to hear this buzzing sound. And that is the signal that you're about to get carried away. I'm trying to hold with all of my energy, my eyelids open, because they just wanted to shut. I wanted to just get knocked over and get thrown unconscious. But somehow I managed to fight this as I'm watching my reflection. When I didn't think I could hold it anymore, and then all of a sudden it was like, and my eyelids were jammed open. I saw my face. It started to tug around the edges and start.
Oh my God.
Like, it went like, and it started to shrink into a gray little ball. It was this floating sphere. A literal jaw out of the ball drops down, a forehead explodes out, cheeks form, and in front of me is a polygonal face. Have you ever seen PS1 or PS2 graphics? Almost like Egyptian. Like it had like
I've done acid and shrooms, but definitely not PCP.
Forehead. And then before I could blink again, the head starts to morph. It just starts shifting into different faces, humans, animals, big fat guys, small guys, young people, babies. It was like a character select screen in a video game. It just kept switching so fast you could barely make out any one change. And I'm just looking at this and I'm blown away. I don't know what to think. And then again, before I could even stop to think, it slowed down.
But that crossfade must have been horrible that he's talking about.
Like, oh, good. Okay.
Like hard.
That guy. That's me. He's back. This was the breaking point, and this is the part that blew me to the ground. Teeth erupted, sweeping across my pores, scales left out, and I'm looking at myself now, and I look like, I shit you not.
He looked like the person that Dubs did a review on. He literally transformed into that dragon lady.
A reptile. Like, what would happen if a velociraptor evolved into like a humanoid? And I had this really weird feeling wash over me, like, oh my God, it all makes sense. But at the time, it felt like this was the perfect explanation for everything that I need to know. It was like the answers to the universe were reptiles. And as soon as I got this, a sense of calm washed over me, and I felt like I had gotten and learned exactly what I needed to learn.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I had this voice that was like, you can continue. And I just immediately closed my eyes and just dropped. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta tell them what happened. My friend, he's going like this, he's pacing around like, oh my God, Adam's dead, Adam's dead. And he looks at me, this just relief washes over. He's like, oh, you're okay. And what he says to me was, did you find what you were looking for? So I burst out into maniacal laughter. I was like, oh my God, find what I was looking for. I fell to the ground laughing. How do you encapsulate everything, all the feelings that I was just injected with into like
I love them both.
Language. It is so
I love them both.
Challenging. There's no translation. Like, yes, I can say, oh, I turned into a reptile.
But it's different for everybody, yeah.
But to convey that in a way that he's going to understand, I think is near impossible. It's the kind of thing where you have to be in the experience to really extract the value from it. The next day, I was driving to the gym to do my workout, and as I was driving, I burst out in tears, and I was crying.
Oh no, I love that.
I finally figured it out. The answer that I was looking for was, we are in a simulation. Because it looked like I was looking at video game graphics. I looked like a polygonal character, a fucking character select screen, like a Street Fighter video game. To me, that was proof that this entire world is nothing but a simulated reality.
That is bad, Alfredo.
And I'd gotten my proof, and it was both beautiful and terrifying at the same time, because it was like...
At that point, when you're up for that long, like, your brain starts fucking with you too because of the lack of sleep. A certain type of mania could start happening. I've heard of people hearing voices, seeing like shadow people. I'm not sure if that's true because I've never been up for 30 days. Sometimes just because of my brain chemistry, I like to say I forget to sleep, but it just ends up that I'm up for like 3 days, but it usually never goes past 3 days. And then I'm like, oh, time to take a happy pill and take a nap. Oh, Alfredo said yes. Definitely. So what Adam was talking about is like, that's why I kept on saying, oh, like, that's so beautiful, because like I always find that there's this like weird clarity when it comes to hallucinogenics as opposed to like just doing drugs. I guess that's why I've never been a party to that. I really like exploring my mind and why I do things. And I feel like sometimes a good mushroom trip or an acid trip can release some of those blockages, and like it helps me remember things. Because I've been through a bunch of traumatic shit in my childhood, so I have a hard time remembering a lot of like specific things. But I love that. It does. It makes me feel so like at peace and have this like calming feeling of love. And he's describing that right now. Hey, Jam.
like I didn't have anything to be afraid of anymore because it's just a simulation.
That's right.
When I die, I'll wake up and I'll be the real me, the reptile.
The reptile. Hey, Rebartolo. Just reacting, watching some Tales from the Trip. Losing your mind is a beautiful thing sometimes.
Out of the ocean, and that's when I feel my body completely.
It literally turned me into somebody else, and I like who it made me.
I'm Alexander, and this is the time I died on the beach in Tulum, Mexico.
Oh no!
Do as I say, not as I do. Don't do this. So it all starts with a big pile of mushrooms, and I buy by the pound. I get to Mexico, I'm full of life because, you know, I got the shrooms to Mexico. I get there, and then my cousin is like, hey, before we really, like, get into it, why don't we do a temazcal? We should crawl into this cave with these Mayan people. They're going to bring in hot rocks. They're going to make it pitch black, and then we're going to fucking purge. We're going to also have a psychedelic experience without drugs. And so I was like, well, yeah, let's do it. I am holding on to dear life. Like an hour and a half. There was strangers. So I have this like psychedelic experience without drugs. Highly recommend it.
So good. I've had that.
You know, just like.
Has anyone had that? Like I've literally been in an experience, and I remember it because it was like, it felt like being on a really, really strong acid trip. I literally was shot into space, and I felt this like warmth and peace come over me. I started to cry. I felt like such a fucking hippie at that point. I was like, oh my God, I'm the trees, I'm the grass, I'm the bugs, I'm you, you're me, I love you. Ugh. But it was so amazing. And that was just because of the experience I was in. I had so much adrenaline, so many endorphins coming out, all of the lovely brain chemicals, everything that happens when you're on drugs happened, and it happened naturally. Your brain is the best drug. Ugh, I love it.
There. Because I was in this sensitive place from the sweat ceremony, I feel
you, Alfredo. We're the same kind of toxic.
And they just keep calling me, and I just keep taking them,
yes.
Guzzling water, taking more capsules. At one point, I remember taking a fistful of them. So we make our way down on the beach, we're dancing, I'm full of life, you know, I just feel the mushrooms just like really bringing me that serotonin. And then everyone's like, hey, let's go in the water. And it's like a inception. It's like a noise, like, whoa, and I hear it, and I'm like taking the steps, and then everything becomes mirrors.
So
and
beautiful.
I'm standing at the ocean, and it's just mirrored, and it's just endless, and there's just the bluest water, and then the sky, and it's just like the most perfect day in Tulum. And now I am inside of a disco ball that has become Earth. I am just in the ocean, I'm riding the waves, I'm feeling the waves, and then I decide I am the wave. I feel myself.
I'm too much of an adult, really, like, hey, but I appreciate it.
Are you okay? Because I'm with a group, and at that moment,
like I really don't care.
A bird flies over, and I say, I'm the.
You know, that was one of the things that I was able to let go of, is really like being, not that I was really self-conscious growing up for too many things, but it really allowed me to let go of fear of ridicule, of judgment and stuff like that. It's, I know it sounds far out, but I am kind of a hippie gangster. And it definitely, I've had a couple of instances where I've been able to say that those things actually shaped and really influenced who I am. Hey everybody. Yeah, Alfredo, I feel you. Hey Mystic Mac. Hey Raymond. I'm just chilling, you know, I'm just taking a break of like getting all the little odds and ends out of the house. And I thought I would sit down, have a live, and react to some Tales from the Trip. It's on Comedy Central. It's really good. And they tell stories about, you know, acid trips, mushroom highs, DMT, ayahuasca, like all kinds of crazy stuff.
I literally see myself as a bird. I'm in all of these things. I am all of it. And that's when I realize my hands are disappearing.
Oh no.
And I need to get the fuck out of the motion, and I'm beginning to erode, and I decide it's time to lay down as I have no hands and no arms, and I close my eyes, and that's when I feel my body completely cease to exist anymore. I feel as though I am dead. It is rainbows, it is fractals.
So beautiful.
It is as if I go beyond Andromeda, and then I am greeted by spirit. It's two of them, and they take me on a journey deep into other dimensions, but it goes on for like hours. I start to come back to like some form of reality. I see a building.
This makes me so excited. I don't know about you guys.
And then when I walk in the building, it's the biggest office building I've literally ever seen. And it's full of thousands of desks, and at every desk is me, and on the other side of the desk is me too.
That's crazy.
Myself talking to myself with all of these past memories. Like some of them are traumas,
some of them are
happy memories. I begin to cry. I feel my heart is there again, and I'm like, oh, I must still be a human.
You're alive,
I must be coming back to Earth. And so my heart is so big. It's like bleeding, it's gushing, it's oozing. It's just like literally like the mushroom.
Oh, that's crazy beautiful.
With love, empathy, everything that I kind of never felt in my life could even exist. And that's when I am back into reality on the beach, and I realize that there's a conspiracy. And the conspiracy is that sand is man-made. Sand is not real, it is man-made. And that's when I began to cover myself in it, and I'm just literally rubbing it all over my body. We're rolling in it. I then just like sat there. I took in the sunset. I mean, I feel like I tripped for like a whole nother 3 days, but it was really just like a heightened sense of reality, the connectivity, feeling like I saw something that exists beyond dying.
I love that.
Living again.
I love
have
that.
This, like, unbelievable connection with death. For me, this one though, it was the one that shifted my life. It moved me forward, and I carry it with me every single day. That's pretty much the time that I died to live and tell this tale.
See, that's what I mean. Like, that's what it felt like every single time, especially with the hallucinogenic, especially with something that was mind altering in that capacity. At the end of it, I've always felt like I was able to walk through a door. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? She took mushrooms in Mexico, but prior to her taking mushrooms, Wolf, her and her friend did this whole like ritual with some Mayans, and I forgot what it was, but yeah. Hey, Upstate. But yeah, it's really interesting. Oh, there was this one comedian who had told a story. I don't know if you guys watch or listen to This Can't Be Happening on Comedy Central as well. It's where comedians go on and they tell like really fucked up stories. And there was this one comedian, and she was telling the story of this one time where she was on this she was just going on like all the, how do I say this? All the stuff that resembles salt. But she had gone through all of this stuff, and she was losing her house and money and stuff like that. But she was also very smart. You know, she was in college at the time. And Dad, this isn't happening. Yes, lovely. Thank you so much. So funny. Tell me if you heard the story. And in the end, she ends up like in her sister's, her younger sister's restroom. She randomly showed up to her house asking if she could use the restroom because she had figured out that the way that your body processes the drug, it's actually more potent in your urine. So she was trying to drink her urine while wearing a prom dress, and I think like some sort of like bomber jacket or something. And her younger sister burst through the door because she had been in there for so long. And she's like, I was so embarrassed. And that was the day she quit because she was like, I guess that was her lowest point. It was pretty fucking hilarious how she got there though. So funny. She drank it. And she was like, yeah, I was the crazy, like turned up, like Beamer walking around the neighborhood telling people like, you know, you could save money by doing this. And I think at one point she even said that she was like trying to harvest it. It's fucking hilarious. So funny. So funny. Yeah, so funny. Let's see what the next one is. Oh, I ate $800 worth of shrooms. That's had to have been an amazing time.
I look to the side of him and Al Roker appears and he's like giving the weather.
Well, you can do that as, yes, Alfredo, like you can do that for medicinal reasons, but she was doing it to treat
Washington, and this is
her,
the story of
her
the
addiction.
first and the last time I did shrooms.
Hey, Steele.
It was like a hot summer day. I'm in this room with my roommate at the time.
Cute.
TV is super boring, right? It was just like regular reality TV. And we're like, man, we gotta find something to do. He's like, hey, I have mushrooms. And I've never done mushrooms before. And I'm like, I don't know, should I really be interested in this? But I've done cat tranquilizer before, so it's fine. He gives me the mushroom.
Oh, that's crazy.
And he's like, don't take a lot, just take a little since it's your first time. But I'm a G. Like, I'm a grown woman. I'm like, no. Don't give me the kids menu.
The
Give
one
me
thing
adult
about
size
these things, they will humble your ass.
Okay. So the mushrooms are inside of me, and I'm talking to my roommate. And my roommate is always late with the rent. And for some reason, I was like, let's talk about this right now. Let's get it out in the open. He's like, listen, I'm always late with the rent because I'm low-key unemployed. So most of the times I'm giving you whatever I can.
Careful.
And like something in my heart was like, damn, he's really doing that. Like, why am I giving him such a hard time? And then all of a sudden, I look to the side of him and the walls look like they're melting. And Al Roker appears.
Oh,
and he's
geez.
like giving the weather.
The weather?
And I was like, is Al Roker the weatherman? I thought he talked about news and current events.
He does weather.
So I'm tripping at Al, and then all of a sudden I give him a high five because I'm like, he's Al Roker. He's like legendary. I have to respect because he's been a friend of the family for years. That's not true, but I just felt like that when
Absolutely.
So this huge fan that's got lint all over it is spinning,
Definitely will.
and the walls are melting, and I look into the fan, and the fan turns into some kind of monster, some like big mouth monster with like weird dog ears and no eyes. And
Later.
I'm freaking out because I was like, the fan needs eyes, you know. And I'm telling my roommate that I'm like, the fan doesn't have eyes, and I'm really upset. It's really scaring me. And so then he takes his hand and touches the fan and puts 2 eyes on the fan. So I'm going nuts because I was like, wait, where did he get those eyes from?
Yeah.
You can't pay the rent.
But you have eyes?
And something in the fan reminds me of my ex, you know, because my ex is just spewing out dust. It has dog ears, so I'm getting into it.
Oh, no.
My roommate is looking at me like, oh, she's tripping.
Oh, that grosses me out.
Before, so he's laughing. He's not making a big deal of it. But I'm like in another world. And then I look at the TV. The TV is still on. The TV looks like it has a big hole in it. And I'm like, I just bought that TV. Where did this hole come from? So then my roommate is all into this trip. So he's like, oh, so let's call a place. Let's call Best Buy. Let's go. So I'm freaked out. I'm tripping on mushrooms. I call Best Buy. Like,
Definitely not, right?
I have a hole in my TV. I just bought it. I don't have the receipt, but I'm bringing it now. So I unplugged the TV.
I have to make
we're
some phone
going
calls.
to
I have
Best
very
Buy.
interesting
And then
friends.
he's like,
That's all I'm
all right,
saying.
you're tripping, like you're for real tripping, and we're not going anywhere. You have to stay.
Those nipples.
So I closed the door and locked the door. And I'm like, oh my God, my roommate is
They were like,
keeping me hostage, and it's hot. Like I'm sweat. Like I have makeup on. My eyebrows are melting off of my face. My hair is falling out. My face is falling off. My ex-boyfriend is telling me that my feet smell. Cat tranquilizer has never done this to me. Like I'm just sticking a K. That's it. So I go in my closet. I'm in my closet. That's a mess. You know I didn't put nothing on a hanger. Like the hangers, my clothes are on the hangers, but halfway on. So then I'm looking at the hanger, and the hanger turns into a liger. I don't know if is that a real thing? But at the time I was like, that's a liger. That's a tiger.
It's a real thing. I think I've seen a picture, but I don't know.
Is that a liger? A lion tiger. That's what it is.
I want to pet one first.
My clothes are halfway on the hanger, and it starts caressing me. And I was like, oh, I feel safe here. This is where I need to be. So I just stay in the closet, and I lock myself in the closet for a good hour and a half. And
right, Jerry?
I come out of the closet, and he's like, are you good? I was like, I don't know. But somehow he starts talking to me about how he doesn't have money.
Oh my God, I have to
And
do
I'm
some
like,
drunk history with
oh,
you guys. That would be
you know what?
hilarious.
I
She is
understand.
pretty.
You don't have to pay me rent for a whole month.
Aww.
So somehow I get out of mushrooms and I'm in the hole like $800 because I have to keep my word. He doesn't have to pay rent. I'm freaked out. I've been in the closet for an hour and a half and I'm still hot. So that was the first and last time I've ever done mushrooms.
That was hilarious. Taking rare psychedelics before flight.
Paralyzed in fear. It is the chicken man delivering the chicken, and he's like peering through the blinds. And I'm in full panic. I'm like sinking into the couch like one of those 2000s like anti-marijuana campaigns.
Do you guys remember those? She's all deflated.
Serving party-sized platter of wet chicken wings, high on mushrooms. Back in the day, I used to really love psychedelics. My favorite memory of doing shrooms was with my best friend Kira. I'm looking at like the back of the chocolate bar and I'm like, oh my God, okay. There's 8 pieces. 1 piece is like a microdose, you're kind of feeling it. 2 pieces, send me on their way. So I said, let's rush the roots of this stuff and let's go, go, go. So we get home, I take 2 pieces of the chocolate and I'm starving because it's like lunchtime at this point and we haven't eaten all day. So I was like, we really should just order some chicken or something. So I go on a delivery app and I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this place looks great. The photos are awesome. But like the sizes are weird. Like it wasn't small, medium, large. It was
reminds
like
me of being in Long Beach.
It was fighter pilot. It was renegade. It was these World War II like jargon military terms. And I was like, I don't know. Let's just get a B-1 bomber of lemon pepper and a B-1 bomber of buffalo.
Right?
I'm not feeling it. And I'm greedy when it comes to doing psychedelics. If I'm not feeling it right away, then I'm like, let's just take more. Let's just take 2 more pieces. 15 minutes later, it like hits me
over the top.
Like, oh shit, we're locked and loaded. We're in the middle of this trip. Like the lights start trailing. It feels like the living room is breathing, and it's fun. We're watching music videos, we're giggling, we're laughing, and all of a sudden, we hear a knock at the door. And I am like paralyzed in fear. It is the chicken man delivering the chicken, and he's like,
oh my God,
through the blinds. And I'm in full panic. I'm like sinking into the couch like one of those 2000s like anti-marijuana campaigns. Thank God my best friend here, she speaks out. She calls her boyfriend in the other room. She's like, Jenny, please don't answer the door. He does the exchange with the chicken. The chicken man leaves, and I shit you not, he has 2 party-sized platters of chicken wings. Like these are platters you would bring to
I love
a
flats.
graduation
What do you
party,
guys?
And I'm nauseous. I'm like, get
on
those
chicken
away from me.
wings.
I'm peeking out.
I'm all flats
I'm
all
not
day.
eating a thing right now. So like, let's go outside. A new environment. It's gonna feel fresh. It's gonna feel breathy. And my best friend Kira, she picks up a hula hoop. Now, Kira is an above-average hula hooper on any day of the week. Okay. But when she is hula hooping, peeking on mushrooms, it looked like beautiful. An Olympic event.
Yeah,
it was
gorgeous.
Just stunning. The toss into the air, the theatrics.
I could just imagine her being all fluid, you know.
How beautiful.
Magic.
Tap me in, coach, okay? So she's trying to me in. I get the hula hoop and I'm going for it. I'm looking in the air. I'm tossing my head back and forth.
Yes.
I feel Sia in the chandelier video. I'm kind of starting to work up a little bit of a hunger at this point. So I'm like, let's just go back inside and revisit these chicken wings.
I have a story, guys, about
it's amazing. It's lemon pepper. It's crispy.
My first plane ride experience.
And then I open mine and it's barbecue. They're soggy. They're red. It looks like a bottle of barbecue has just been poured all over it. I am already sweaty. Yeah. I'm already dripping from my nose. I've been crying on an awful, what feels like an eternity. And I'm like, I can't put wet on my hand now. I'm already wet everywhere else, okay? And I'm just disgusted by them. Would you be willing to trade a barbecue for a dry rub? Zach, I literally have like 40 wings here, enough wings to fill a suitcase. Just take a goddamn wing. And I was like, oh my God, you're so generous. Thank you so much. I feel better. I feel like I'm kind of riding into the wave of this shroom trip. But at this point, the vibes are just not it on the inside. We just feel so much better outside. Yes, but the sun is going down at this point. And the only thing we can really do is go on a walk. She was near a cemetery, but the cemetery is a sketchy place. Like, you just don't know who's going to be there. We spend about 2 hours in the cemetery.
Me too.
We're dancing in the moonlight. We're dancing around.
But I love roller coasters. I'm a weirdo.
Spiritual experience. There's a light trail. It's just awesome. And we don't really encounter anybody, which was surprising. I'm just like so excited about the night that we call one of our mutual friends. I'm like, hey, can we just walk down the cemetery at night? And I was so scared, but it really wasn't shady at all. She was like, guys, you are the shady people doing drugs. know what? The trip is over. I'm done. I'm gonna go lay on
He's
her couch,
like,
grab a pillow.
he's like, we got so high. We went to a cemetery. It wasn't creepy. And their friend was like, no, you were the creeps in the cemetery doing creepy shit. I'm the same, Jerry. I know why. So like before when I said I do a lot of shadow work, that really just means like finding out why you react to the things that you do. Why are you afraid, right? So I love going on roller coasters. The higher the better. I love it. But that whole stressful incline, oh, it fucks with my head. Oh, it fucks with my head. But then once it's all done and that first drop happens, boom, everything else, like all that fear goes away. I like the whole like journey involved in things. I like knowing that I came out, and even if it was just a fucking roller coaster, I conquered something, you know what I mean? And enough to go on again. So that's always like a good thing. You went on every ride. Okay, so the first time I went on an airplane, and it was so dumb. Like if I'm going in California anywhere, I love to drive because I think California is beautiful. And I usually go up north like once or twice a year. But when you're married, sometimes you have to like make a concession, right? And my wife was like, no, let's just take an airplane ride. Let's just take the plane and shoot over to Oakland. And I was like, fuck. But one, I was already bummed because the drive, like I said, I look forward to the drive. The drive is amazing. It's beautiful. And I like to stop at different places, you know what I mean? Shit. Pull over on the beach, you know what I mean? Just have a good time. And so the night before, don't ask me why, we went out to this club, right? And we were living in Long Beach at the time. And hey Modestilo, we got so drunk. I woke up with a hangover, right? This was going to be my first airplane ride. Hangover. The steward or whatever they're called in the plane was like feeding me more alcohol. Like, no, you just need to drink more alcohol so you could go to sleep and you'll be fine. I'm like, this is like what the fuck was it? Like 20-30 minute trip. Why do I need to be so drunk when I'm already so hungover? By the time we hit the peak, I was like, I need a bag. And all people heard for the next 30 minutes was me going, sorry, pardon me, excuse me. Oh my God, I was so embarrassed. When I got off the plane, I had to literally like leave my wife, jammed over to the restroom, didn't even make it into a stall, but thank God there was a trash can right there. And I literally was throwing up for like an hour after that. I was like, I'm never getting on an airplane again. Like, fuck this. It's horrible. It was horrible, Alfredo. Oh my God, horrible. Ugh. And then afterwards, I was like, we should have just drove. I'm like the grumpy old man in the relationship usually. No, we're watching Tales from the Trip. And let's see the next one. That one was kind of all right. It wasn't that great. Oh, getting sent to the weird depths of hell on ayahuasca. Oh, I want that so bad. I want to try it so bad.
Then I look over, and the shaman has turned into a cloven-hooved devil. His assistant had turned into his demon concubine. Out from the ground rises this tree that is covered in blood and severed limbs. Hi, I'm Jenny Grino, and this is the time I did ayahuasca and saw the devil. I was going through a really rough time.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Life, probably going through a breakup. You know, I have an eating disorder, so I was really dealing with like all of that stuff. I need to figure something out. I need to get clarity in my life. So why not just go do hallucinogenic drugs in the woods with complete strangers? And before you do ayahuasca, okay, it's very important. There is a fast that you have to do. Okay,
it's a whole ritual.
Fasting of things that take your energy. So you're not eating meat, you're not drinking alcohol, you don't have sex with somebody you love, you aren't allowed to fight. So on that.
What about someone you don't love? How about a rando? A torta. Exactly.
In the morning, I had bacon.
And
I
yes.
texted someone, but I didn't love them, so it's okay. And then I fought with my sister terribly. Perfect, let's go. My headspace is amazing.
Fucked up.
So we go up to this house, and it's nighttime too, so it's like dark out there. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's probably like 8 or 9 of us. There's a shaman, and then there's a shaman's assistant. Then the woman starts handing out these bowls.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was like, what are these bowls for? And they're like, oh, you're going to throw up. And I was like, I'm sorry, you're talking to a bulimic? I'll tell you when I throw up, okay? Thank you.
She's like, that's the only part of my life that I have control.
Their spots. People are laughing, they're crying, people are throwing up. And I'm sitting there, zen, being like, I am light, I am loved.
Yes,
Then I
girl.
looked down at my blanket, and I was like, okay, that's there. And then I look up, and everyone's gone. They do not exist.
Oh my
And
god.
suddenly, out of the ground,
She's
huge
cute.
mountains covered in blood. Okay, so there's like right off the bat a lot of blood, and then I look over, and the shaman has turned into a cloven-toed devil. His assistant
Party.
has turned into his demon concubine. And
Party.
then behind him, out from the ground, rises this tree that is covered in blood and severed limbs. I'm
Why
sure this
so
would
much
scare
blood?
A lot of people, but there was this moment
I'm
where I
curious.
remember there was a little jewel inside my heart, and then there was this voice that came over me. This is hilarious. You're a comedian. Use this. I'm like kind of
Nice.
laughing to myself and giggling because I'm like, this is pretty funny that of course I would see the devil. And then as I close my eyes, I'm going through fractals and snakes and ladders and like all this shit is moving. It's actually kind of nice. And then I remember thinking to myself, yeah, Jenny, you didn't throw up. You're a champ. And immediately threw up. Just immediately grabbed the bowl, vomited. It got taken away by the demon, and I was like, great. I'm like,
Oh my god.
to come. And then I get that moment, and this happens when you do ayahuasca, is where you have to shit. I ran up, and I went to the bathroom, and I remember just being like,
Did she
oh,
make it?
man, no one showed up. And in front of the toilet was a painting of a woman, and she's like, yeah, what about her? And I'm talking to this woman, I'm like, I spent $500 on this shit. She's like, yeah, look, that's fucking terrible. I need to like figure my shit out. And then she's just like, no, you just gotta get through it. Yeah, you're right. I do just have to get through this. This is the lesson. This is what I gotta do. And then the knock on the door, and it's the concubine, and she's like, you've been in there for an hour. And she like guides me back. No one's the devil.
Oh my god.
To my friends. And now the shaman has turned into my grandfather. And my grandfather, he's been dead for a long time. He used to be a cantor in the synagogue, and he started singing. It's very comforting. I'm starting to feel that love. I'm starting to feel that light. Like I see the sacred geometry that I connect it all together, and I'm feeling like this well of love, that little gem just like getting brighter and brighter. And then I look over, and I see these 2 blue glowing eyes looking directly at me. And it looked, and it turned into the eyes of an owl. That owl is my guide. All seeing, all observing. That is what the comedian does, right? The comedian.
That's what I'm gonna get on my neck. Is my owl.
He's all who's wise, who's quiet, but knows so much.
By March, I'll have my cover up done and my neck.
And then I realized that the eyes were just the blue light glowing from the refrigerator that was like, time to change the filter. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Sometimes you gotta change the filter of life, right?
Right.
So then it started to wear off, and everyone's like, so how was it? How was it? And I was like, it wasn't weird. Did I figure anything out? No, not a fucking thing. But I think the thing I got from it was like, all the stuff that you need is already inside of you.
You already have it.
Ayahuasca, mushrooms, DMT,
Exactly.
all this stuff. It helps bring that up.
That's it. That's it. That's all it does.
There you go.
But your brain, it literally has all those chemicals. It does it for you. I'm sorry you're not feeling good.
No, I'm not kidding. A goat came by
That just
and
happened.
fucked me. The goat was kind of like half person, half goat. And ever since then, I have loved feta cheese. I'm just the person. And this is a story about when I took mushrooms and I was fucked by a goat. I went to University of Maryland. I was in a Jewish sorority called Delta Phi Epsilon. And my roommate, Julie, and I decided that we were going to take mushrooms. I had taken mushrooms a couple of times, you know, just like a stem, a cap. I was like, I'm going to take more this time because
like
I'm a
3
drug addict.
stems.
So that wasn't enough. I had to take more drugs so that I could not remember my childhood. My dad used to get angry and rip off his toupee in public and throw it.
What the fuck?
So I took a bag of mushrooms and so did she. By the way, if you've never taken mushrooms, they taste delicious. If you've ever tasted
just really dry.
asshole,
It's
like
not that
after
bad.
someone's run about 11 miles
It's
and
not
shit
that bad.
themselves, that's basically what it tastes like. The mushrooms came out of that. By the way, when the guy gave them to
That's where
us,
they grew.
he was like a guy from Queens, New York. What's going on? How you doing? I hate my mother. You know, that kind of guy. I'm gay. I can't face it. You want things in my asshole. He was like, you might want to spit these up. You'll see a lot more. I didn't understand what he meant. We were walking and I started feeling a little nauseous and so did she. And things started to move a little and we both started hysterically laughing. And that was a lot of fun. We were like, we went to the public bathroom and she was like, I don't feel good. I feel like I'm going to throw up. And I'm like, that's so funny. Like just laughing.
Oh my God.
And then all of a sudden she's like, and I am dying laughing. And so then we went walking and she started laughing again. And then all of a sudden I started not to feel well. And I'm like, we need to drive home now. So this is the point. I did a horrible thing. I ended up getting in the car. I don't suggest anyone does this except for everyone I hate. I felt I had to get home. So I drove back to the sorority house. I put the car in park, car on, opened the car door. I rolled out of the car because again, at that point, I was very heavy. So I just rolled places.
It's natural. I don't know. I'm a big proponent for natural things.
Came out. I don't even mind sucking dick because I'm an eater. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like what's inside the dick. Like if it were tzatziki sauce or baba ganoush.
Oh my God.
I'm not drinking Elmer's Blue. I ended up going into the house. That's when the real hallucination started. I ended up going into my room and I was not okay. Everything in my room was moving. My sweaters flew out of my closet at me. They were folding themselves in midair.
Oh, nice.
You know, or I'm not kidding, a goat came by and fucked me. The goat was kind of like half person, half goat. And ever since then, I have loved feta cheese. My sorority sisters weren't there, but I thought they were there. And they turned into these monsters. And they were like,
just take it slow, Alfredo. Just take one hit at a time. Don't get crazy.
Monsters were all around me. And I just saw all this hair. You know, years ago, big hair was really in. So it was just like all these like monsters with huge hair. The thing that I hated about tripping like that was being so out of control. But I got to tell you, it felt
and drink
like
enough water. Hey, cheeks.
That I was on these, and I never ever took hallucinogenic again. I am sober now. I am very proud to be sober.
She's funny. I like the way she tells the story.
People say, why can't you smoke a little pot? I'm like, because that'll lead to pills and cocaine and eating out of a garbage bag. I am so grateful to be sober and I am honest and happy and at peace and serene. I'm so grateful. Some of you may be confused. When the goat mounted me, the sounds it made was so aggressive. Just
okay.
I have a master's in social work.
Okay, I like the way she told the story. I don't know. What did you guys think? I thought she was one of the better stories. Hey, Bella. Hey, Jesus. I see, like, okay, Jesus, she was fucking funny, right? She said that half goat fucked her, and now she's obsessed with feta cheese.
You are fuck, man. I am so fucking hot.
Oh my God.
Hey, my name's
How is everybody? We're watching Tales from the Trip.
When I ate some weed cake with an undisclosed amount of weed in it. Spoiler alert, it ended up being way
way too much. This is kind of a trippy audience. I should say that I have done mushrooms. I have done LSD. Nothing compares to the heaviness of this edible experience that I'm about to share. It is.
Oh, I'm the same way, Alfredo. I hate it. Only if I absolutely have to, I will.
With a capital S that you've ever heard in your entire life. They're consuming like up to 100 milligrams of edibles like every single day. And to make the story even spookier, this was Halloween night, which, as we know, is the spookiest.
How are you feeling, Bonnie, after last night? Did you get to rest?
America. I just locked down a job that I was really excited about, where I was working at a really fancy dog food restaurant. I have to work tomorrow, so I decided to make a really responsible decision and not go out that night. So I get home. My roommates had befriended this girl. She had a very like mystical, like witchy vibe.
Okay,
like, rich,
cute.
Witch vibe. She had baked.
Oh, well, that's good, girl.
$5,000
Shit.
worth of weed in this cake. This girl's rich, and my roommates have ingested some of this weed cake, and they're like, "Hey, you should try some of this weed cake." Okay, how much should I have? And my roommate, who was like the mega stoner, goes, "Well, I had a piece an hour ago that was this big. I'm not feeling a thing. So if you want to feel anything, what I would recommend is eating a piece that's 3 times the size of what I had."
Oh my
God!
God.
A regular sized piece of cake that I ate. So we're just sitting there watching a movie. An hour goes by. I'm feeling pretty chill. 2 hours go by. The movie ends. I'm talking to my roommate, who is usually just like comatose on the couch. And all of a sudden, I see my roommate get up, and he starts pacing around the room and walking in circles. First of all, I haven't seen him stand on his own 2 feet since the time we moved in here. And he starts to get really fidgety with his hands and starts to put them on his hips and stuff, and I see him start sweating profusely. Dude, what is up with your vibe right now? You're like starting to freak me out.
He's probably gonna feel like dying.
What's going on?
At some
But
point.
I think I'm getting way too
Or
fucking
throwing
high
up.
right now.
My stomach just dropped, and he starts laughing uncontrollably. You have the highest weed tolerance out of anyone that I've ever met. You took this shit an hour before me. You took 1/3 the amount of weed cake that I took. Oh my fucking dear Lord.
Way too
Are
much.
you kidding me? What do you mean? And he goes, "What are you talking about? Did you have some?" I was like, "Yes, at your instruction, of course I had some." He goes, "How much did you take?" And then I took 3 times the amount that you took. Are you fucking kidding me? He goes, "Dude, why would you take that amount?" I go, "You were the one who fucking told me to take that amount. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Dude, you are fucked, man. I am so fucking high." And I just immediately went in a panic
Excuse
mode.
me.
I am going to die. I couldn't be with anyone anymore. I went up to my bedroom. It starts raining, and I'm sitting there curled up in the fetal position and sort of just rolling around like an egg. I
Oh
hear
my God.
screams of the partygoers in the distance, laughing like hyenas. I hear street cats having sex. And if you've ever heard of a street cat having sex before, it's really, really terrifying.
It sounds horrible.
Horrifying noise. I hear gunshots in the distance. I heard like 13 gunshots. And all of a sudden, I start to hear these very.
He is a
intimate
character. I
noises
agree.
Coming from the wall. My neighbor was having phone sex with his girlfriend in the room next door, right next to my ear, as I was trying to drown out all the noise. He had his girlfriend on speakerphone, so I could actually hear both parties engaging in phone sex, which is some really nasty stuff with a lot of hyperbole going on.
Yes.
I was in a case where all these noises were happening in my room with me. This isn't working. I can't stay in this state forever. I need to do something to take my mind off all this. I whip out my phone. And for whatever reason, I was compelled to search chameleon hatching from an egg.
What?
It was in the palm of this lady's hand. It was about this big, and I see the alien. I see the chameleon hatching from the egg. And I'm just
Right, Bonnie?
And I was so emotionally exhausted by this experience that I finally just passed out. And then I wake up in the morning. I go to the bathroom. I look in the mirror. I am higher than anyone has ever been in their entire fucking life. I am so high. There's no fucking way I could go to work today.
No.
I go back to bed. I sleep for like 8 hours. I wake up from that. Still so fucking high. This is how I'm going to be forever. My mouth is cotton mouth. My eyes have cotton. All my organs are now cotton, and I will now have to be placed in a home for people who are also
cotton. Yeah, cotton people.
I was high for 5 days. I called out of work the next 2 days.
Okay, so I hope everybody knows why that happens. when you ingest marijuana as opposed to smoking it, it's a different process. So when you eat it, it actually gets like filtered through your whole body as opposed to like when you're smoking it and it just sort of like fucks with your headspace. But because your body has to process it and actually digest it, you'll stay high for a couple of days. Especially if you take the amount that he did. I don't care what anybody says. I don't even care what the package says. You only take a little bit and you wait 25 to 45 minutes. And then if you don't feel nothing, a little bit more. And then you wait. Maybe this time like an hour. And then maybe take another one. But after that, just don't even try it because then it's going to be too much, I think. Drink some water, Alfredo. Have some fruit. It's really good for you. If you take too much LSD, Mr. Rogers might save you. I think this is the one that I need to hear. I don't know about you guys.
My God, we're all just one organism on a planet floating through the DJ set of
Oh my
space.
kids. Okay, that's how I felt.
It hits us right at that moment. We're at our peak.
And drink some water.
Was our peak.
And just relax.
Hey, my name is Brett Pella, and this is the story of how Mr. Rogers saved me from a bad trip. A couple years ago, me and my girlfriend went to a music festival, and we tried LSD for the first time. We each took a tab, but it must have been a dud because we both went to sleep after a couple hours. So this past year, we went to another music festival, and a buddy of mine gave me some acid, and he said,
Hey, be careful with this stuff because this is actually really strong.
I love acid.
I've heard that before. And we decided to take a tab each.
Acid
And
loves
we waited
me.
about an hour, hour and a half. Nothing has really happened yet, so we decided to take another tab each. And
This is where people fuck up.
A lot faster. The come up was like the water level of a room is rising, and you're just riding that wave. We were like two human buoys in the ocean of life. We found ourselves at a DJ set by a DJ who goes by LS Dream.
And you turn on the light.
Around us is moving exactly the same. Oh my God, we're all just one organism on a planet floating through the DJ set of space. And it's during the big build-up, his big outro, his final song is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. It's this crazy dubstep remix, and it hits us right in that moment. We're at our peak, or what we thought was our peak. But as we walk away from that stage, the acid keeps kicking in, and I look over at her, and her eyes are bigger than anybody's eyes I've ever seen
Jerry.
in my entire life. And then I look back to where we're walking, and I see this dust storm that started across the entire campground. The LSD is hitting us more and more. It's like the waves just won't stop coming, and the dust looks like it's taken shape of these crazy creatures, and there's like eyes in the dust.
Oh shit.
Because it was so dusty, everybody at the music festival was wearing a mask. You don't know if people at a music festival wearing a mask are smiling at you or trying to cast a spell on you. Because like 99% of people at a music festival think they're a witch.
They do think they're a witch.
And she started to tear up. So we go into this canopy, the secluded tent, and we lay down on a mat. She's sobbing. Did we do much that this is our world now? And I'm trying to comfort her. So I look down at her and I say, no, it's temporary. This is just the medicine, working its course through our bodies. And I'm in a phase of life now where I don't do drugs. I take medicine, as you can tell from my beaded bracelets. At the same time, in the back of my head, I'm like, this might be it.
I do both.
This literally might be our life now. We might go through the rest of our life as if the entire world is melting into jelly. And the room has different paintings on the walls. And I saw this painting of Mr. Rogers, but it was like a trippy Mr. Rogers. He had like 6 arms thrown out of his body.
Oh, what?
And the universe was coming out of his tie. And he had this look in his eyes. He was there for me. And as I looked at
I think I could do with
started to
Mr. Rogers
think about my
being
childhood,
spirit,
growing up with Mr.
being
Rogers,
the universe.
And these memories just came flooding back to me.
Fucking
Going to
sick-ass
Grateful Dead
sniper,
concerts with my mom when I
but
was
also
a kid,
super chill.
Or in 3rd grade when my crush Chelsea brought her bird to school for show and tell and took that shit on my head. And everybody called me Pooh Stain for the rest of 3rd grade. All these awesome memories just kept coming back to me. And
Pooh
I
Stain!
told her to look at Mr. Rogers. And we must have stared into his eyes
Oh my
for
god.
about an hour until finally we started to feel like the medicine was starting to calm down, and we decided to stand up, walk out of the tent, and go find some food. And what we really wanted was fries. And every food vendor is closed or out of food until we find the one food vendor that still has food.
I don't like
and
to
they're
get
serving
so far
organic
deep in my
whole
trips, you
potatoes,
know what I
final
mean? But
fries.
if that's where
They
I
all go to
head,
the
then
front line, and
that's
we
where I
order,
go.
And I swear to God,
But
when
I
the
just
person
usually
gives
like
us
just to
our
get that
food,
warm
she says,
feeling
"Here
and
you
to
go,
see
neighbor."
everything
Time
breathe, you
froze.
know what I mean?
Because
Feel
your
that
mind on
that
LSD
connection.
automatically tries to connect everything. It thinks
Yeah.
everything is an interconnected web. And I looked at her
I
right
dig
in
that.
the eyes, and then I looked around her vendor tent, and on the side of the wall, she had a print of that same Mr. Rogers painting. It was right there. He was everywhere we were, looking out for us the
Aww.
entire time. You know, Mr. Rogers, I think, taught me a couple lessons that night. Lesson 1 is patience, and lesson 2 is know your limits. I was like half a tab away from actually becoming a 6-armed Mr. Rogers.
I think I want a painting of a 6-armed Mr. Rogers with a bunch of hearts around it. Yeah. See if I could get that commissioned. That was crazy. I like that one too. Beware of babies appearing during your shroom trip. Or what free diving while super stoned feels like. I think I'm interested in that one. Free diving itself fascinates me, so
Perceptual
let's see.
expansion that all my mental models and frameworks gave away, and I was in a state of just
Yeah, no, you just need a little bit. Oh my God, I'm fed up. The paranoia. I can't.
This is a story about the time that I combined high-dose cannabis and free diving. Now, most people these days don't think of cannabis as a psychedelic
Fuck yeah, it
compound
is.
because it's become so normalized.
Especially when you eat it.
Cannabis has a history, a 1,000-year history. It's a profoundly mind-altering and very much psychedelic.
What's up, everybody?
And so, having given you that context, now I'd like to tell you a story. I enrolled in a free diving course because I wanted to learn to manage my anxiety. Anxiety has been something that I profoundly struggled with throughout my life. Free diving teaches you through controlled breath holding how to repattern your nervous system and control your physiological response to fear and or anxiety.
You know what? To the point that he's making right now, I feel like people that are involved in athletics don't get enough accolade for the amount of mental fortitude that you have to be able to put your body through all of these extraordinary things. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Of course, and I started getting really comfortable down there, and then I decided, with the blessing of the freediving instructor, to combine the breath holding freediving session with cannabis. I partook the cannabis. I think we were using one of those super slick vape pens. I felt the passing of time fade away. I found the intensity of the moment take on a heightened and qualitative intensity.
The water must have felt great.
Euphoria came on really strong, and eventually went for the deep breath and dove into this crystalline waters of this cenote, this radiating turquoise holy water. I felt like I was being baptized. Suffice to say, I was in it, and there was no space in my mind for anything else. The larger contextual reality of who I was, of my identity, of the fact that I was in Mexico and I had just smoked some pot and I had just dove into the water, all of that was completely and utterly dissolved. I felt like I was an astronaut, like marveling at another world. There was just a feeling of overwhelming awe, a feeling of such perceptual expansion that all my mental models and frameworks gave away, and I was in a state of just making room for this new world. I remember I was hovering over this boulder. It had these these algae that was growing on it, I remember, and the patterns of the growth of the algae looked like skyscrapers. It looked like a kind of extraterrestrial version of the Dubai sky.
I always felt like the ocean
emerald green, and the sunbeams were shining through the water and shining through the algae.
So amazing.
So it just gave the whole thing this blistering, radiating shine.
Look at his eyes.
Appreciation
of the worlds within worlds
So cute.
that exist alongside our own, but that we are normally
I love the
too
imagery in
blind
this one.
to notice. So I continued to hover around, and then, of course, a school of fish
Hey, Jackie.
swam by. Now I was looking at life itself. I was trying to see if it was possible to meet
Jesus.
the fish's gaze.
Let me know if you
and have
do.
an actual moment of connection or
Tell him I
communion.
said, what's
In that
up?
moment, there was just this freeze frame quality where I just saw the pulsating eyes of this.
Oh my God,
woman.
Bonnie. Last night, the restroom. What does that remind you of?
The question of why would I do this? What was I looking for? And aside from the obvious hilarity of imagining me stoned out of my mind under these crystalline waters, is that I was having something akin to a religious experience. To be privy to a moment of such grace is to be
Hi, James.
touched by the grace of God.
Of God. That's
Right?
what it feels like.
world
Whatever God
goes from
is
black
to you,
and
that's what
white
it feels like
to color.
if you've never.
A universe of possibility is revealed. Gray by color. And so that was my encounter, my experience, and it was revivifying. And granted, I've been ranting and raving and riffing for the last several minutes, but all of these scaffoldings, all of these protocols, all of these procedures, all of these actions that I took to get past myself, to get out of myself, to enter a state of ecstasis, to be beyond oneself. Again, when you get past yourself, you forget yourself.
Yeah, Alfredo, that's why I said just take it slow.
Everything
One
else.
puff at a time, you'll know when you're good.
There is a lot to see.
That was awesome. I like that story. Get some good snacks around you, Alfredo. No junk food, water, fruit.
Shiva almost reaches down and picks me up. It's just us, eye to eye with one another. And I'm freaking out. What? Hi, I'm Pink Fox, and this is the time that the goddess Shiva turned me into a walnut while high on mushrooms.
A walnut?
His name is DJ Char, and we go to this club every now and again. It's called Black Rabbits in Hollywood. And while we're there one time, he introduces me to this bartender. Now, this bartender has this aura. It's super positive. And by far, it's the friendliest mezcal I've ever been served in my life, right? One very random Thursday, she calls me and my friend Charna, and she invites us to this LA art exhibit. It's not
That's what's
what
up.
you're do on a Thursday after your uncle just told you that your dad just got arrested on vacation. So I get there.
Right? I'm waiting to hear.
Hipster vibes, like lots of wide brim hats and crystal foreheads, you know what I mean? You've been to Burning Man once or twice. You're watching this. We've been on drugs.
She
So,
said
I
that.
get
Oh,
there, her friends go one way.
that's gonna be a
she
nice
grabs my
crossfade.
hand and takes me another way, and we enter this dome, right? This massive dome. This is a 6,000 square foot room. There's 150 people spread out across the floor. This is 360 degrees of projection.
because I forgot to pack it, but
And
the
it's
wide
all
brim
just
hat
dark, like they dim the lights or whatever.
for this story.
She reached in her like French crossbody bag and pulls out this dirty sandwich bag full of shrooms, and then she kind of like takes my chin and she points it very sensually, I might add, towards the ceiling. So obviously, I look at the ceiling and I open my mouth.
I'm glad you found
right,
it, Margarita.
which seemed familiar, but we're not going to talk about that.
IRL.
I open my mouth and she starts pouring in this like these like crumbs of mushroom, and it's earthy and gritty, and it tastes like our blue group. And I kind of lay back, right? And then the music starts, and it's just this deep, like tribal drum. I'm like letting this drum flow through me. Then the projection starts.
The energy
on the ceiling, and
waves.
it's this golden swirl, almost like a wormhole. Suddenly, the drums become way more intense. It's like I am the drum. It felt like somebody was drumming on my head like a small bongo. They were going for it too. It was like I was at Puerto Rican Day Festival. It was crazy. As it happens, the blues and the purples from the screen get really vivid. Like they start
that's fucking
sucking
cool.
me in. This larger than life depiction of the god Shiva appears on the screen. Everyone else
beautiful.
in the room disappears at this point, right? As the floor drops out,
Hey,
it
that's
feels
right, Jeff.
like Shiva almost reaches down and picks me up. It's just us, eye to eye with one another. And I'm freaking out. I'm feeling really tiny. I feel like the tiniest walnut that you just picked up from walking in the forest, and you're looking at it and you throw it over your
Oh,
shoulder.
I understand.
Because it means nothing to you. It's a small walnut. She's making direct eye contact with me, and I close my eyes because I'm thinking anything's better than this. I'm fucking freaking out. I'm about to have a horrible trip. I think I fucked up. I close my eyes and I flash back me being a little kid. I'm a little kid and I'm like visiting my dad in prison. He's like having the deepest conversation with me. He's like, you know, you don't want to end up where I am. You know, you want to be better than this. In this point, I start to realize what he meant by that. Anything can be prison if you allow yourself to be trapped in the negative realities. They kind of like suck you in, right? Like when you make a mistake, maybe if I just let go, I can move forward in a way that I can be happy with. I was really grateful to the god Shiva for allowing me to have this drugged out enlightenment.
Fuck yeah.
It was wonderful.
Hats off to
so
that.
The projection is ending. Then I realized we have to see the rest of this place. There are these two large sculptures of deities, and I'm standing at the bottom of them. Maybe this is why like the ancients used to carve these big stone gods, so that we could know what it's like to feel small and vulnerable. Are they just standing still because I'm in here?
That's
I seen that at
beautiful.
the museum. I seen Toy Story, but it might just grab me if I close my eyes too long. I need to find an exit. I find the exit, I get the fuck out of there. Then I find myself in this like room with just mirrors, like this hall of mirrors. I catch a reflection of myself. I'm really overcome with this satisfaction. Like, I'm really happy with how I look. So I took a selfie. Seeing myself in the mirror as myself meant a lot to me because I'm
Do
transgender.
your own work, sir.
And
Do your own work.
You don't always enjoy what you see in the mirror. We regard that as dysphoria. Much of moving throughout life being unique, there are these old versions of yourself that kind
I'm
of
not quite sure.
And so I just
I've never
always
had that
this
happen
idea
to me.
of what I wanted to look like.
I don't know
and
if
be
anybody else
perceived
has.
as. And I felt at this point
That's
I was
crazy.
finally there, and that was an amazing trip. And that was the tale from the trip.
That was a good one. I liked her lesson. Not her lesson, but what she got out of it, rather. I'm all about the journey, guys. I don't know if you've gotten that. I think I said it. But I love things that reveal yourself, you know what I mean? To yourself, anyways.
Pops come out of nowhere and tackle my friend. I'm like, what in the fuck? I have all drugs on me.
I love it. I love the giggles on mushrooms. A little sweaty.
I'm back home. This is the story on how I fell in love with a burrito on acid. And Jackass Forever is on Paramount Plus right now. Go stream it. So I was at this party, and I'm the only one that's in costume.
Maybe
and I'm dressed as
was
a
there mold in it or something?
A random guy comes up to me and my friends and says he has some LSD and some weed for sale. My friends and I decided that this could be a good business opportunity since we're going to be going to this concert tomorrow. And we can sell some of the weed and lime. We ended up buying it. Cut to the next day. We're selling some joints and limes on this concert. It's sort of like a jam band style thing. And this random guy comes up to us and goes,
"Can I have one of your like finest marijuana cigarettes or something like that?"
And we're like, what the fuck? Like, why did he say it like that? Cops come out of nowhere and tackle my friend. I'm like, what in the fuck? I have all the drugs on me. So I just run away. And I had the acid. And the first thing I thought was, fuck, dude, I don't want to get caught with acid. I'm going to go to jail forever. So I ate all the acid as I was running. I just kept running. I didn't know
you were probably having anxiety.
Still trying to get a hold of anyone. And then I'm like, fuck, dude.
That sounds like an anxiety attack.
The acid started like kicking in. There was a street vendor selling burritos.
Mushrooms are fun.
And it was really lit up. The lights were beautiful. It was like one of the most like beautiful things there was. All the colors were popping. And I was seeing all these weird textures when I was walking around.
I love acid though too. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you do, but I do.
Walking, and I saw this burrito. They had like this big ass burrito for sale. And it just, I wasn't hungry, but it looked like beautiful to me. And I just wanted one so bad. Just to hold on to, not even to eat. And I went up there and I was like,
but sometimes, so marijuana is good for some people to help with anxiety, but with other people, like everybody's brain chemistry is different, right? And when you're ingesting anything, it's gonna fuck with your brain chemistry, and you might just be one of the types of people that it gives you anxiety. Like that just sounds like an anxiety attack to me. But it could have been. Maybe it was like bad. Maybe it had mold on it or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. MD Muzon? MD? I'm not sure I know what that is exactly. But yeah, you just might be one of those people. Like I can't smoke sativas. It does nothing for me at all. Indicas, because my brain is going like like a crazy person's does. It just sort of MDMA. Yeah, I love Molly too. It just slows me down a little bit. That's it. I've heard of K2, but I've never tried it. I like more like psychedelics, MDMA.
Yeah, that'll be like $10 or whatever, and I just pulled out a lot of money and gave it to them. I clearly gave them too much money, and they're like trying to give me change back. And like, here's your change, and I'm like, this burrito is all the change that I need. And I take the burrito, and I'm just walking around with it. I felt like the burrito was just like its own like separate entity, like it was like its own person. And then out of nowhere,
yeah, probably
my
was one
in the tie-dye hoodie that was selling the weed.
It's not for everybody, Jerry.
I finally found you. Where have you been? I was like, thought you got arrested, and he was like, no, they took my weed, and I'm fine now. I'm fine. But we can't go in the concert. You still have the weed, and you still have the acid. Good news and bad news. The good news is I still have the weed. Other good news is I still have the acid. Bad news is the acid's inside of me. What?
Oh no.
They were so pissed at me. Both my friends were so mad. But they're like, yeah, we have to get into this concert. So we start going back towards the venue, and we see this big tour bus. And they're like, yeah, this is one of the bands that's playing. I'm going to try and talk to them. And my friend goes in there and talks to them, and he's like, hey, they said we can go on the bus. And we're trying to convince them to let us into the show, even though we've been blacklisted.
Jerry, good
they were
thing.
like thinking, yeah, we can probably let you guys in. For some reason, I'm still carrying around this burrito, and I'm getting the burrito all over that fucking tour bus because I'm not eating it, and I'm just letting
He's
it
all
everywhere, and they're getting pissed.
with the burrito.
I'm sort of pushing it around, like trying to clean it up. And I'm like, hey, I have to use the bathroom. So I go into the little bathroom in the tour bus, and I start looking in the mirror, which is not really the best thing to do when you're on a bunch of acid. And I just started seeing a bunch of versions of myself. I don't know if that's me, or if this is me, or if I'm me, or if I'm even real, or if anything is real. I just screamed. The guy in the band was hitting this bong. It was like one of his favorite bongs, and when I screamed, it scared him. And he dropped the bong, and it broke. And at that point, we got kicked off the bus.
Yeah.
And my friends are even more mad at me. So after this point, we're not really sure what to fucking do. So we decided, what if we all just change our hoodies, we go to the roadies and just try to convince them to let us in. So I tell the roadie everything that had happened to me, like throughout the entire day.
Oh no.
Honestly, man, you've been through a lot. I'm gonna let you guys in.
And they let us in. I felt like I could see like all the vibrations, like from like coming out of the speakers, all the different colors, everything was popping and swirling together. And it was just one of the best feelings that I could have. Eventually, this awesome experience had to come to an end. And our only ride home is in a pickup truck. But
I didn't know that.
Because I was still tripping balls.
Oh, that's my favorite thing to do, except with mushrooms.
The bed of the truck, and I'm just laying
I have a
there,
whole ritual whenever I go to San Francisco,
feeling like
Oakland.
Feel the breeze on my skin, and then I just hear thunder, and then it starts raining.
And then further up.
This is amazing. I'm one with Earth right now. And then
Ooh.
I think the truck's filling up. And like I started like freaking the fuck out.
I don't know if I need more than like acid, you know what I mean? Or like.
And they're like, Zach, get in the fucking truck. You don't need to be in the bed. So I made the sensible decision to get back in the fucking truck like a normal person. Me and that burrito had the night of our life. I would say I hope that burrito's okay, but there's no way that burrito.
He loved that fucking burrito. He really did love that burrito. That's crazy. There's this this cypress. It's an albino cypress, and it's up it's close to Big Sur. Why can't I think of the name of it? But whatever, that city that's right there by Big Sur. The burrito. That's my favorite place to do mushrooms because you could sit there. There's this like cozy little like cabin style diner with this beautiful patio that's overlooking a creek, and there's the albino cypress right there, and it's just like being in a totally different fucking world. I love it. It's the one thing I love. I mean, not that there's only one thing, but it's one of the one things that I truly love about you know, even the central parts of California with all the farms and all the garlic and everything. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful. Hey, Aquatic. Whatever. I like the fact that, like, I like smoking. I know why I like smoking. I also like the added head change that the tobacco in the wrap adds to the weed, because I don't get flavored wraps. Talking about this 1K2. I don't know. Well, maybe, yeah. I've never heard, I've heard of it, but I was never really interested in it, so I never really like explored that.
All of a sudden there were these security guards around me, and then I'm thinking to myself, oh,
She's going to a spy museum on shrooms.
Hi, my name is Katie Molinaro, and this is the story of how I had to defuse a bomb on mushrooms.
It was the summer right after I graduated college, so I met this guy at the American Film Institute. I was kind of into him. Our relationship was basically drug-based. 4th of July.
Hilarious. That's a lot of relationships, right? When they're just drug-based. All that. When you take mushrooms and this lady shows up to dance. So there's one of these tales where this guy, his name is Sean Moss, and he has a trip and he sees this purple lady and he like falls in love with her. She falls in love with him. And every time he has a trip, since that first time when he saw her, she would always appear, and they had this like completely like psychedelic love affair going on. Yeah, it's really, really funny. So I don't know, maybe it's a certain energy, you know what I mean, that you've tapped into. You know what, Jeff? Like, between both of my fathers, they've been in every, except for anything that was, no, all of them. They've been to every single jail and prison in the state of California. And that's not something, like, I'm not laughing about it and smiling because I'm, like, proud of that. It's just the reality of some people, you know. But look at you now. Look at you now. There's people at my job that do it, man. And they're like, they do all kinds of stuff at my job. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm not gonna say more than that.
Comes around. I'm like, wow, 4th of July, we should do something big. All of this is happening in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. My drug friend pulls out mushrooms. And this is the first time I've ever seen them. And I'm like, you know what? I can handle weed in public. What's a little mushroom? It's just it's a vegetable. So drug guy gives me these mushrooms, and we have a brilliant plan. We're going to go to the International Spy Museum. The International Spy Museum is an interactive museum where they literally give you badges and you become a spy. You go undercover and you solve all these problems in the world. We did not know this. We just thought, oh, we're going to go to the Spy Museum. We're going to have a great time. Sounds good. So we get there. We get our credentials. Oh, no. It's kicking in. And I'm in public, and there are families around. We're transported into, like, a briefing room where everyone's in character. You know, like, DC is really big for theater, so I feel like there were a lot of out-of-work theater actors who were working here. So when you take mushrooms, the power of suggestion is so real. So if I point at something and I'm like, oh, that's a bird, everyone around me is going to be like,
oh yeah, that is a bird. I definitely see that.
Well, so there was a study done, I think it was within the last 15 years, and it said that, the finding results were that the way that you learn something is the way that you will be more successful when you put it in action. So, like, if you're, I don't know, learning to play the drums, like my neighbor won't stop doing right now. You're learning to play the drums. If he is practicing and taking his lessons and doing all that he needs to do while he's, let's say, drunk, he'll be at his best when he's drunk. Isn't that crazy? And then if he's sober, he's essentially going to have to like reteach himself how to be to the level that he was. Does that make sense? I don't know. Whatever. More stories.
Oh, well, I'm surrounded by all of these theater kids who are putting on these weird spy Russian accents, and we're inside this fake country that they made up, whose naming stands. I suddenly believe that I am a spy and I need to defuse this bomb, and all of this is real. People are there from Wisconsin on vacation to go see the monuments, and they're just looking at us. Eyes are on me. All of these people are going to die. It's going to be my fault. They put me in front of this screen with all of these different buttons, and there's all of these different connections.
Thank
and
you,
then
Jerry.
there are also codes that you have to figure out. I realized in this moment that I'm going to need some help. Who's going to help us defuse this bomb? And then I had this amazing idea, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln is the only one that can help us because he is the biggest president.
Of course.
We need to go find Lincoln. So then we
Find
just
the tallest
found-
person, obviously.
Everything there. The bomb, undefused. It's just there. All the family's watching. We leave. Done. I don't think anyone has ever left the Spy Museum during a mission. Lincoln is on the National Mall, which isn't that far. I'd say it's like
She's
maybe
committed.
3 or 4 miles, but it felt like forever.
She's
And I was like,
committed.
we gotta get Lincoln's help. It's July in DC. It is hot. Like it feels like the air is soup. Just a big noodly woman swimming through soupy air. And then we end
That's
up
so
at
cute.
the steps of Lincoln. He looks so big. Lincoln's not here to save us. He's way too scary. There are people gathering around because we forgot it's the freaking 4th of July and there's going to be fireworks on the National Mall. And I am just sweating and I fainted. Like I passed out from the heat. And then all of a sudden there were these security guards around me. And then I'm thinking to myself, oh, everyone knows I'm high. Everyone knows fireworks are going off. So many colors.
Oh my
the colors
God.
are just more illuminated from the drugs. It's just like,
Everything
the
always looks so
sky
much
is
more beautiful.
painted. And in this moment I realized that's the bomb. The bomb went off. We didn't defuse it. And I didn't even get to ask Lincoln for help. I was sitting there in his stupid chair. Thanks for nothing, Abe.
Alright, that one was alright. That one was alright. Alright, everybody. Thank you for tapping in with me. I appreciate you hanging out. I didn't expect to be on this long, and these clips are really short, so we must have watched a lot of clips. But yeah, thanks for tapping in. Make sure to hit the like. Hopefully I'll see you guys later on. Be good. Stay safe. Bye.